Oh, here we go. I think we're live. There's usually a cutoff at the beginning, but here we go. We got a stream up, and today we're going to be learning Unreal Engine 5 interface. Now, if you go to my first video, it tells you how to install it. So you should already have it installed and open, and then you'll come to this huge interface, which is a monster. So what you're going to need to do is you go Google UE5 docs, you click on that link, and here you go. You're after the stage of understanding the basics. You're now into the foundational knowledge. Okay, so we're going to do the Unreal Editor interface. So the way they do this manual is they give you this screen. Okay, the first time you open Unreal, you're going to have to select a project. So you can just pick any one you want. The first-person shooter game is interesting because it works right out of the box. You can just start shooting little balls around. It's kind of fun. But you need to get past that project and create a project. And then you'll be in this interface here that they're showing me. So what I'm going to do is control click on that, put it over here so it's a little bigger, and you can go along with me, and so I'll bounce back and forth between this image and the other content. So as you can see, they're numbering these. Number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And why is somebody calling me? I'm just gonna blank it out. Okay. So now you're gonna go to the documentation and see that they are correlating these numbers to the descriptions. So number 1 is the menu bar. So number 1, way up top there, you see that? Maybe I can hit the zoom. Yeah, there you go. There's your menu bar. All right. Number 2 is called the main toolbar. So this is basically going to change depending on what mode you're in, and it's going to have little shortcuts there. And you'll see here, you'll change the mode, and then you'll have different shortcuts there. This appears to be not in anything selected, and it's got a way, you want to play the game, you want to make video edits, you want to change platforms. Number 3 is the level viewport. Okay, so when you're making a game, you have different levels, and you've got the viewport, number 3, right smack dab in the middle. So that's the level that you're on. Content drawer is number 4. So basically the content in Unreal is going to be, like, I want to add a guy or a box or a table or whatever. You got to go down to this content drawer and open that up, and it's basically just a file editor. Let's see, and they're calling your files assets, so you can open assets in the content drawer, which just means open a file. The bottom toolbar is number 5, so there's going to be shortcuts to the command console, which might be useful. There's an output log and derived data functionality. Also displays the source control status if you're using source code control. So this is number 5 down here at the bottom. Have logs. If you get errors, you'll see them there. You can enter a command line code, and you probably have, like, this is checked out from the source, and this is version 1 or 2. Okay, so then you're going to have the outliner, number 6. So this is a tree view of your content. So you go to number 6, over and up here. Okay, this is a little tree view of your content in your level, and you can actually select one there and it'll select it over here. Useful. Then there's the details panel. So this is when you select something, an actor, we'll call the object in the display or the level viewport, the objects in there are called actors, and this little details panel gives you all the details about that. So you'll see here, he has select editor cube 14 in number 6. So now it shows up the details of that in here, number 7. And then there's all the locations down here. There's some static mesh, there's some materials, you know, and there's some physics about it. And you can have different things here depending on what kind of object you choose. I think that's it. I think that's where we're at. Oh, so they've got over here, source control off, derived data. And I think that's it. We're done with the main interface. Now you can get into more detail on the menu bar. So you can see that you're going to have different editors, right? Depending on what you're doing in Unreal. But in each one of those, there is a menu bar. And it's the basic stuff you'd expect, like file, save, you know, edit, copy, paste. But then, you know, there will be different things in addition to that. So now they're going to walk you through the main toolbar. Okay, this is going to have so we're back down to number 2 here. Remember, the main toolbar. We're going to go into detail on that. Okay, so you've got these numbered as well, and they're going to have the save button. Looks like a floppy disk from the 90s. And then you got the mode selection. Here's what you can select: editing, landscape, foliage editing, mesh painting, fracture editing, and brush editing. Each one has its use, right? And then number 3 is going to be content shortcuts. So depending on which content you're dealing with, you can create. So like there will be a list of things that you can just add in there. There will be blueprints. You can create blueprints, or there might be a list of ones you've already made. And cinematics, which are just videos or a sequence of movements for an actor or something like that. So that's number 3 right there. So there's going to be these little guys. Create blueprints and cinematics. Okay, number 4 is the play mode controls. So that's to run the game, right? Let's say I want to run the game. You hit play. If you want to stop, you hit stop. And I don't know what skip and eject do, but we'll find out later. So then the platforms menu, you can choose whether it's going to be for desktop, mobile, PlayStation 5, whatever. And then you've got your settings, right? So there's your platforms, number 5, and your settings, number 6. Now, in the level viewport, let's get into detail on that. We're back to number 2, right? This is number 3, sorry. The level viewport here, 3. Let's get into detail on that. Okay, that displays the contents of the level that is open, right? Anytime you open a project, there's a default level that opens, and there you are on that level. So now you're viewing the contents of the level. And it could be whether you're doing games, like a commercial video or something, or a visualization. You know, it's probably common with people making buildings and want to show it to investors. So, so it can display 2 ways. There's perspective and orthographic. The perspective is what you see when you first open it. It's the 3D view, and that's what they're displaying here. Now, if you go to orthographic, that's the 2D, like, top-down. So the second one here is the top-down 2D of that 3D thing. Sometimes one is, you know, better to work with than the other, and so they give you both. Now you've got the content drawer. Okay, so we're at the content drawer, which is that little guy down there on the left, number 4. That little content drawer. Now we're going to go into detail with that. Okay, it's like I said, it's a file explorer. You can find assets, blueprints, and other files in your project. You can browse through stuff, and when you click on your content, it's going to come up like this and give you a little bit of information on what they are. And basically, you can just drag and drop them into your level editor, and then they're added to that level. And this is anytime you download something from the asset manager or whatever, it's going to show up in here, or with the asset store, sorry. Okay, the bottom toolbar. Now we're in the bottom toolbar, which is number 5. Okay, let's go into detail on that. The bottom toolbar has shortcuts to the command console, output log, and derived data functionality. And it has a source control, so we already said that. So let's get some detail on the output log. Debugging tool that prints out useful information, okay, while your application is running. Over here too is the command console. It's just like any other command line interface. Type help and press enter to open a list of available console commands. So there you go. If you don't know any of the commands, you type help and you can go through them and learn them. Okay, then the derived data is if your program is running something that's calculated or derived, it'll show up there. And then source control, you know, you might be using GitHub, or I think Perforce is the one that comes with this, but I suppose you could use GitHub if you want Microsoft to have a hand in your business. Okay, so the outliner. Okay, this is formerly called the World Outliner. Now, the outliner is this, they were calling this the, before all this, they were calling it the, oh, they were calling it the outliner. I was thinking details panel. So we're at the outliner, which is the one in the top right. Let me get here. Here's the outliner. You can see it over on the right at the top, right there. There's the outliner. Okay, that's the tree view thing. Now that's going to be all your content in the level that you're working on. You can also use it to quickly hide or reveal actors by clicking on the associated eye button. So there's going to be like an eye button in there. You'll see right there, a little eyeball, little tiny guy, and that'll make it visible or invisible. Okay, and then you can access an actor's context menu by, so you have to right click on it in there, and then you can do specific things for that from the menu that pops up. And then you can create, move, and delete content folders. So if you had something in the game, you didn't want it there, you just go over here, you hit delete, it's gone. If you want to do something with it, right click it, and it'll give you a menu. Now the details panel. So they've already shown it to you here. That's useful in a tutorial like this. And I don't have to flip back and forth between screens for you. Okay, so yeah, when you select an actor up here, it brings up the details down here. That's all the settings and properties that affect it. By default, it's on the lower right. Okay, so I think we're done with this part of the editor interface. So now you know the interface. Good luck with that. I'll do another video on the terminology, and I will just end it there. Congratulations. Go to step 3.